All right, today we're jumping into something really fascinating. There's this new World Bank report, and it paints this incredible picture of a huge, kind of untapped economic engine over in West Africa. We're talking about Sierra Leone's creative economy. I mean, it is just packed with talent, but for some reason, it's just stuck. So, let's get into it.
Okay, let's just start with one number, 10%. So what is that? Well, believe it or not, that's the slice of all formal jobs in Sierra Leone that come from creative industries. Yeah, we're talking music, film, fashion, crafts, you name it. That is a huge number. I mean, most people would never ever guess it's that high. And that right there brings us to the big puzzle we're trying to solve today. Get this. The creative economy is the country's second largest formal employer. The only thing bigger is wholesale and retail. But, and it's a big but, the whole sector is fragmented, a lot of it's informal, and it's just so underdeveloped. So what in the world is holding all this amazing potential back? Let's figure it out. Okay, first things first, we really need to get a handle on the sheer scale of what we're talking about here. Because even with all the challenges, this sector is already a powerhouse. It's just, well, it's kind of operating in the shadows. And hey, to put this whole potential thing in perspective, let's look at GDP. Sierra Leone's creative economy, it's kicking in about 4.5%. Now, that's pretty significant. But then you look at its neighbors. Ghana's at 6.5%, and Nigeria's creative engine is just roaring at 12.5%. But you know what? That gap isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of a massive, massive runway for growth.
All right, so let's dig a little deeper. Where exactly is all this potential hiding? I mean, what specific industries are really driving this thing?
Well, the report makes it super clear. The energy is really concentrated in just a few areas. Get this, a whopping 84% of the entire creative economy is powered by just 5 key industries. You've got fashion and textiles and crafts as the 2 absolute giants, and then right behind them are audiovisual and media, publishing, and music.
Now, to figure out where to really focus the effort, the report introduces this brilliant idea they call creative strongholds. And what that means is these are the sectors that aren't just big employers in general, but they have a really high concentration of actual creative jobs. You know, the designers, the directors, the musicians, the very heart of the industry. So the report points to 4 of these strongholds that really form the foundation. We're talking audiovisual and media, music, performing arts, and crafts. These are the spots where Sierra Leone already has that critical mass of talent and activity just waiting to be scaled up. Okay, so we've seen all this amazing potential, but now we've got to get to the heart of the problem, the roadblocks. The report calls them binding constraints, which is a great way to put it. These are the really critical things that are just choking off growth right now.
And it really is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? You have all this raw talent, a huge youth population just ready to go. So why isn't this sector already a global force? What's going on?
Well, the answer really boils down to a handful of pretty big systemic failures. We're talking about everything from tangled up government policies and a totally broken intellectual property system, all the way down to a simple inability for artists to get paid online or to find the money they need to grow. Let's make this super real for a second. Imagine you're a musician in Freetown. You create a song, it goes viral. Millions of views on YouTube. Awesome, right? Well, in most countries, that means ad revenue is rolling in. But in Sierra Leone, you get nothing. 0. The country isn't even eligible for the YouTube Partner Program, so the creatives can build a huge audience, but the platforms just won't let them get paid.
And the report really does not mince words on this next point. I'm actually going to read this quote directly because it's just that important. It says, "Weak intellectual property protection remains one of the most binding constraints." And look, it's pretty simple. If you can't own and profit from your own work, a creative economy just can't function.
So what does a total catastrophic failure in IP protection actually look like? Well, it looks like this number, 5. Are you ready for this? As of May 2025, that is the total number of copyrights registered in the entire country. Not 5,000, not 500, just 5. That's a system that isn't just broken, it's basically not even there. And finally, let's talk about the lifeblood of any industry, money.
A staggering 91% of the creatives they surveyed said a lack of access to finance was one of their top 3 biggest problems. I mean, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the cash for a recording studio or a new sewing machine or a film camera, that talent just stays locked away.
Okay, so the problems are obviously huge, I get it. But the good news is, they're not unsolvable. Not at all. The second half of this report actually lays out a really clear, actionable roadmap for how to fix things.
Now, this plan isn't some magic bullet that's going to fix everything overnight. It's a really smart, phased approach. It starts with some quick wins you can get in the next couple of years, then it moves on to deeper, more institutional changes, and then finally it builds toward long-term global competitiveness. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And what's so great is that for every single challenge, they've got a direct solution. So let's start with policy. The problem right now is you've got all these different ministries with overlapping jobs in zero coordination. The solution? Create a single cross-ministry National Creative Economy Council. One body with one clear vision and one strategy.
All right, next up, that completely broken IP system. The fix here is a kind of 1-2 punch. Step 1, finally pass the actual copyright laws that have just been sitting around in draft form. Step 2, launch a modern digital registry so creators can actually register their work without a huge hassle, and create a real organization to collect royalties for them. And what about getting access to capital? Well, the report recommends creating a dedicated creative economy fund, for grants and risk capital. But what's even more innovative is the idea of project-based loans. These wouldn't rely on old-school collateral. Instead, they'd be based on the strength of the creative project itself, like a great film script, a new fashion line, or a finished music album.
So, there it is. We have a super clear diagnosis of what's wrong and a really detailed prescription for how to fix it. The only thing left, the final step, is turning all this incredible potential into actual real-world performance. And this quote from the report just sums it all up perfectly. It says, with high-level commitment, strategic investment, and coordinated delivery, Sierra Leone's creative economy can evolve from potential to performance. I mean, all the pieces are there. The talent, the young population, the global hunger for African content. All that's needed now is the will to actually do it. And let's be super clear about why this matters so much. This isn't just about art and music. This is about creating hundreds of thousands of jobs for a country where almost 40% of the population is under 35. It's about preserving and sharing a totally unique cultural identity with the rest of the world. And, maybe most importantly, it's about building a brand new path for economic growth, one that isn't just dependent on the old commodities.
Look, this report makes one thing absolutely clear. The talent is there. The plan is on the table. The only real question left is, will these ideas be turned into action? Because if they are, creativity could absolutely become Sierra Leone's new economic powerhouse.